think I can't remember his exact record, but he was 3-6 at one point. He probably should have been 6-3.
Yeah. No, I think when you say, has he been the ace of the staff, quote unquote, in 2024, I think it would be silly for a Rays fan to say anything other than Zack Littell. I mean, he has the most innings pitched from the rotation. He has the highest ERA plus from the rotation. He has the lowest FIP at 2.97. Very shiny.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And we are the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making us your very first listen every single day. Be sure to check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Locked On Rays. You can also find us on X and Instagram at Locked On Rays, and email us anytime, lockedonrays@gmail.com. We also want to tell you about our title sponsor for today's episode. That is Supply House. SupplyHouse.com is the reliable way to get parts fast. Shop for your next plumbing, HVAC, or electrical job and get fast shipping from coast to coast at SupplyHouse.com. All right, Ulises, we're going back to our roots a little bit with Monday episodes where we take a broad takeaway from the weekend series that was, dovetail into that, and also get to some listener comments, their take on what they thought about the Rays and their performance against the Orioles. Of course, the Rays lost 2 of 3 on the road at Camden Yards, luckily salvaging Sunday's game, which didn't look too great until the Rays finally came through.
It didn't look too great. Coming into the series, it was rough because that's a really good ball club in the Baltimore Orioles. And ultimately, they showed it, and we were very close to seeing the Rays being swept. Very, very close. Now, were they competitive games? Yes, I think they were competitive games. Maybe Saturday, not that much. With the run scoring fest that happened. What was it? 5-5 in the third? Like, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, home run after home run after home run for the Orioles. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Taj Bradley had a whopping 9 earned runs in that game, thanks to Ryan Mountcastle twice, Anthony Santander, and Jordan Westbrook, and a host of others as well. The Orioles just hit the ball hard. I mean, exit, whether it's a single, double, triple, home run, doesn't matter. They're getting like 105, 106, 107 exit velocity consistently.
Heck, if it's a grounder or a flyout, it's still going real hard.
Yeah.
And that's exactly one of the things I want to hit on today. My main takeaway is Zack Littell. Was it on Mother's Day? It was Mother's Day where after the game, we mentioned how Cash said that Tyler Alexander competed, and we were like, what? Allowing 6 runs in 7 innings is competed? Like, why are we not using the right words for that type of outing?
Right.
What we saw from Zack Littell, that's competing. 6 innings, 11 hits, but he only surrenders 3 runs. That's competing. To me, that's somebody that competed. Why? Because you look at every single one of his pitches, Kevin, all of them were 0.6 miles an hour lower than his yearly average. He didn't have his best stuff. None of his pitches were at their optimal strength, at their optimal power level. And when you look at the not even the hits, but like the hard contact he allowed 10 triple-digit exit velocity batted ball events. 10 triple digits. This man only allowed 3 runs. He knew when to shut it down, and he still gave his team 6 innings worth of like, hey, this is a quality start. Maybe the word quality people kind of frown upon when you have double-digit hits. But guess what? You don't care about the hits. You care about the runs. 11 hits might look ugly, but 3 runs. This man competed.
And he's really competed all season. if you look at his line, and competed all last season too, where he was the surprising punch in the rotation that nobody really expected any of this from him. And I went back and looked at his game logs, and out of his starts all this year, he had one game where he allowed 4 earned runs, in another game where he allowed 5 earned runs. Outside of that, every game is 0, 1, 2, or 3 earned runs. Also, he's given you at least 5, and often more so than that. We've seen 6 innings from him. We've seen 7 innings from him. We've seen 5 2/3 innings from him. The only start that he has not gone 5 innings was back on April 10th against the Angels, where he went 4 1/3. I mean,
Yeah.
it's out of the realm to say that he has been the most stable and consistent starter in this rotation this,
I
and maybe going back for a period of time last year as well. And luckily he was able to get some run support in this game, because we couldn't
Yeah.
say that all the time for him, especially last
no.
year there, I think, I can't remember his exact record, but he was 3-6 at one point. He probably should have been 6-3.
Yeah. No, I think when you say, has he been the ace of the staff, quote unquote, in 2024, I think it would be silly for a Rays fan to say anything other than Zack Littell. I mean,
Yeah.
he has the most innings pitched from the rotation. He has the highest ERA plus from the rotation. He has the lowest FIP at 2.97, very shiny. The lowest home run per 9 at 0.9. Everybody's at 1 or over that. You look at Savale, Pepio, Bradley, Eflin. All of them have had moments of shine on the season. This guy's the most stable one, and that's what you need in a rotation. And I couldn't, if Littell wasn't in this rotation, Kevin, this season would be even grayer.
Yeah.
It really, and so it begs the question with the Rays kind of taking 3 steps back, 2 steps forward, this like cha-cha dance this whole season. If they were to be sellers at the deadline, or at least like soft sellers at the deadline, would they say, maybe we sell high on Zack Littell and then give us a spot for a Shane Baz, who had a great outing with the Durham Bulls. I think it was 4 innings pitched and no hits, no runs.
Right.
But I have to check that out. But that could be a position where they're like, okay, we could restock here a little bit with his high value right now. And he is pitching in the AL East. That counts for something.
Oh, yeah.
I really think that if they want to go that way, that route, to open up a roster spot in the rotation and sell high, Zack Littell, unfortunately, could be that guy. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades, supplyhouse.com. Supplyhouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Pros in skilled trade can get a competitive edge by joining supplyhouse.com's free trade master program. Join the thousands of trade pros that are already using Supply House, and you can do that today. Supplyhouse.com/TM gives you the free membership, and you can order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at supplyhouse.com.
Yeah, and another selling point for him is he had a makeover with the Rays. He now knows the stuff and the quality that you need to be a successful, not just major league reliever, but a starter, where he was thrown in the rotation last year. And this has been the best thing for him, is coming to the Rays organization and working with Kyle Snyder. It's been documented that Littell added a couple new pitches, which now he's got a full repertoire. He's got 5 different pitches, which is one reason that makes him so deceptive and so successful. But Kyle Snyder also suggested a new grip for his sweeper, and basically told him, hey, throw it as hard as you can and stand on the first base side to get more of that deception and get that Oliver Drake-like look, if you will. And what I really appreciate about Zack Littell, again, he is not flashy. He does not throw
No.
98, 99. He does have some good breaking balls, and we see some good swing and misses at times. But I think what he did on Sunday, giving up 11 hits, was it?
11
hits against the Orioles, no less. Usually you give up 11 hits against the Orioles, they're going to score 7, 8, or 9, something like that, to that effect. But he has always been working to get better and improve his development. He didn't accept the label of being, a failed major leaguer or a guy that doesn't belong in the major leagues. Like, he was DFA'd by the Red Sox several years ago. At one point, at that time, he had only 3 pitches. So he's really made a push to better himself, which, I think is good for anybody in any walk of life and any career. But with Littell, it's like he honestly doesn't care about giving up contact. All he wants to do is fill up the strike zone.
Yeah.
And that's going to breed some contact. So I think not pitching scared and not nibbling has gone a long way, because he doesn't walk anybody. And he accepts the hit because he often doesn't give up hard contact. So you can get away with giving up hits if you're not walking guys and those hits are only singles.
And today, that's why the competed word is so important here, because he was getting hit hard which is something like you're saying, like you're not seeing every start from him. So when the things were not going the right way, he was still able to provide not only length, but actually quality for the team. So I just wanted to give him the shout out, because I feel like he's the most stable guy in the rotation, but people usually are going to gravitate toward the new young shiny toys like Bradley and Pepe are like, and awesome. They're fantastic. But and Eflin for what he did last year, or Savali for what you had to give up to get him. But Zack Littell is the most reliable starter that the Rays have had in 2024, and he doesn't get the love and appreciation that he should.
Now, having said that, I believe he is arbitration eligible after this season. So I'll be curious to see what move the Rays make, if they do try to sell as high as possible on him, or maybe if they really are confident of him being a long-term option, that they give him a very, very team-friendly deal, because he, to me, seems like a guy that would probably accept that, considering he's bounced around and I don't want to say out of baseball, but there's been some uncertainty with his career. So saying, hey, we'll give you a 3, 4, 5-year deal with, 12, 15, 18, $20 million with some incentives tied to that. I don't know. That might get him saying, all right, I'll take that. I like playing for the Rays.
I don't dislike that train of thought. The only thing I would say, innings watch. This man pitched 90 innings last year. He's already at 62 and a third. How much, if you're the Rays, are you comfortable with giving him? 120? 130?
Before,
not 180.
You hope the arm doesn't blow before you make
so maybe that's why they're like, hey, we don't know when this is a tick-tock situation. Yeah. I don't know. It'll be fun to track this, but yeah, just give him his roses while we can still do that,
Yes, certainly. So again, Zack Littell, you just have to go out and appreciate that he's given the Rays a chance to win pretty much every time he's rolled out there. And a reason for, I'd have to look at the numbers, but I think the Rays have 16 comeback wins this year. And the only way you do that is by having your starter keep you in the game, with a 3-0 deficit. And the fact that leadoff home run against Gunnar Henderson, it's probably not going to be a good showing, and probably not going to be a good result, but he settled in and got things going there. So good for him. So you've been now more than a third through the season. And we've talked about it here and there with Evan Klosky and others, but it is rearing its ugly head. And I think it was underscored against the team like the Orioles that have so much power up and down their lineup, that the Rays not hitting home runs this season is a major, major concern. if we go back to the last couple series, so against the Orioles, they had just one home run in that series, and that was on Sunday, thanks to Jose Caballero. And if Caballero doesn't do that, maybe the Rays don't have any momentum to get the runs after that as well to ultimately win the ballgame. Against the Athletics, they didn't have a homer in 2 of the 3 games. Against the Royals, they didn't have a homer in 2 of the 3 games. And right now, the Rays rank 27th in baseball, tied for 27th in baseball with just 47 as a team. The White Sox, who are dead last in the league in a lot of categories, have just 43. And I compare that with the teams that are really successful this year, i.e. the Yankees. Look where they're at with home runs and in the standings. The Orioles, look where they're at with home runs in the standings. The Dodgers, look where they're at with home runs in the standings. And I'm getting to the point of almost acknowledging that our win total at the end of this year is going to look more and more like 2022 than 2023 and 2021. What is the difference between those years? 2023, the Rays won 99 games. They had a 23 straight homer streak that year. And look at their numbers in home runs. They were way up there in the rankings. 2021, same thing. 100 wins. A lot of guys doing damage with the long ball, ranking up there in home runs. 2022, there was nothing. There was like no power whatsoever. There was Randy with 20, Paredes with 20, and then our boy G-Man Choi with 11. And I don't know where the Rays are going to go right now, because at some point, Yandy has to turn it around. Randy has to turn it around. Josh Lowe has to get going. Brandon Lau has to get going, because at this moment, is it fair to say that there's only one feared hitter in the lineup right now, and that is Isaac Paredes? Where you compare that to the Orioles, they've got 6 or 7 feared hitters, led by Gunnar Henderson.
There's a plethora of guys that you could highlight and be like, this is not the guy that I want him to beat me today.
Yeah,
that must be nice. That's what the Rays felt like in 21 and in 23. Like, okay, you want to skip this guy? We have 3 more. So good luck.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because 2023, you had Paredes, you had Siri, you had Randy, you had Yandy, you had the Lows and the Laus, Rayleigh and Wander. 2021, you had B-Lau with his 39. Zanino went off. Meadows, Randy, 6 other guys had double digits. Plus, you had Nelson Cruz. I know Nelson Cruz gets a lot of heat for his stint with the Rays, but we also have to acknowledge and remember that he had 13 dingers in 55 games, plus 8 doubles.
Yeah. I think people forget about that. And it's like, no, he provided pop.
Yes.
Like, even in the playoffs, he did have a massive home run. It was one only, but I mean, the pop wasn't like missing. 13 and 55 is not something to sneeze at. In fact,
the Rays would love to have somebody do that right now at this moment.
This season, no Rays player has more than 5 home runs, except for Randy at 8 and Isaac at 10. Everybody else has less than 5. Less than 5. And we have seen more of the season in 2024 than Nelson Cruz had with the team, right? You just said 55 games. Are we not at 55 games?
Yeah, we should be above that now.
Yeah. So this is not good, man. This isn't good. The power is lacking, and yeah, you keep hearing Brandon Lau's going to turn it around. Josh Lowe has been injured, and he's going to come back soon. But I mean, and Yandy, he's
we thought that DeLuca was going to be somebody, and he's mired in a 2 for 36 slump right now.
Yeah,
and
been tough
our
for him.
quote unquote savior, Junior Caminero, is hurt, and he's hurt for a while. I think
for a long time. So where can you get your pop from? Where who's bringing that slugging? Because the isolated power, which for those that don't know, it's slugging minus your average. This is a team stat that I have here. 120. That's 28th in the league. No pop. By the way, the slugging 29th at 352 before today's game. So it's blatant. And when you look at the competition in the AL East, not only the Yankees, not only the Orioles, but the Red Sox
Yes, they're
are
coming
in
around.
top 10 in these categories. And if they're not top 10, they're top 12 in these categories. Like it's not looking great in this department. And unfortunately, having people that, can have pop is usually a good sign of what you can do ultimately to get that W, especially in the playoffs. We've seen it the last 10 years or so. If you can hit the long ball, you're probably going to do really well in the playoffs.
Yeah.
This is not this team. I mean, the Rays have 47 home runs right now. The Yankees have 88.
Yeah, they're
They've
almost done.
lapped them.
Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 5 million members. It is the most fun, exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. It is the perfect time to try out something new as basketball is winding down. So make sure to try out esports this month because for every Wednesday and Saturday in June, if your lineup doesn't win, you'll get your entry fee back. You can choose from games like Counter-Strike 2, Call of Duty, personal fave of mine, League of Legends, and more. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKDOWNMLB, LOCKEDONMLB, for a first deposit match up to $100. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And the other thing too is like I dove into the numbers and thought, maybe the Rays are getting a little bit unlucky. I mean, in their defense, Camden Yards is tough to hit a homer. But I mean, the Orioles, look where they're ranking. So they're obviously hitting some homers at home. But the Rays also have the 5th fewest doubles in the game. They have the 4th worst hard hit percentage. They have the 4th worst exit velocity. They have the 5th worst barrel percentage. And I'd be okay with this if the Rays were hitting homers like 23 and 21. They have the 7th most strikeouts in the game. So you're striking out a bunch and not getting any extra base hits to show for it.
Nope.
And you might be able to get away with it a little bit more if you had a guy like McClanahan in the rotation and Springs in the rotation and Rasmussen in the rotation. But we got to have more than Zack Littell to rely upon. Yeah. So this is the time where the Rays historically pitching and defense. I know that, but the offense has to step up at some point and deliver some wins. We saw little flashes of it in the last week or so. Jose Siri, thank you. Caballero, thank you. But there's got to be a lot more of that.
No, and it's unfortunately it's the main guys. Like what can we expect from Rosario, Caballero, and all the like role players?
Yeah.
Whatever they're doing is road vets. Like what? Road vets supposed to be the savior of this offense. Like,
well, Pinto was supposed to hit 20 this season, and that's not happening.
I remember that. I remember that article. It's Yandy, man. It's Randy. It's Brandon Lau. The top 3 dogs, and Josh Lowe. You got to stop getting hurt, man. Like, I mean, like, I know he doesn't want to be hurt, but like, if he's not on the field, that's a top 3 player. That's not. Isaac Paredes is the only guy that is doing what he should be doing, that is doing what is expected of him to carry this offense. But I mean, when it's only one guy, Kev, it's really easy to just grab that highlighter and be like, this guy, you don't let him beat you.
Avoid him, basically.
Avoid him. Avoid this guy. Yeah.
But as far as producing runs, I know we've got speedy, athletic dudes on this team, but it takes more than a single and a walk.
Speedy and athletic, Kevin,
to get things done, especially against a team that has a catcher or two that can throw out base runners. When you're trying to manufacture those runs, it makes it a challenge for sure. So my point is, if the Rays are somewhat serious about making the playoffs and trying to compete in the playoffs, I think that they're going to have to make a Nelson Cruz-like acquisition at the deadline. Look at the teams that are struggling right now. See if you can buy a piece or two from there, i.e. Christian Walker, i.e. Paul Goldschmidt, JD Martinez, shooting for the sky, Pete Alonso. Some established gentleman who has proven that he can give you 25, 30, 35 homers a year.
Yeah.
Just for a rental.
And, again, we've talked about who can go earlier in the segment, like a Littell, but you can make it a Zavala. You could also be thinking, hey, do they unload?
Package Ramirez and a Littell.
Ramirez, yeah. So if the Rays get better offensively, that means that Randy got better, Yandy got better, because they're the drivers of this force. So in that case, and when the Rays are back in contention, then I would see them pulling off something to help the offense, because they have to. But if this offense does not turn it around, it's just going to be, unfortunately, sell town.
And what's also unfortunate is I know there are prospects that Rays fans are excited about. Caminero, we've talked about him. We know that when he gets to the show, or we think we know, that he will have, elite power potential. But you look at the other guys, the other prospecty types of guys. Curtis Mead doesn't have power. Jonathan Aranda doesn't have much power. Taylor Walls, to be coming back off the injured list at some point, doesn't have much power. And combine that with the fact of some moving this offseason, perhaps, of Brandon Lau and or Randy Arozarena. Those are guys who have historically shown power that you would be taking off the roster. So I'm just wondering, like, even in 2025, where's the long ball going to be coming from as well?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I hope the front office is diligently working on them, because this is very blatant that is missing. Very blatant that it's missing. And with a Bilal that could be potentially be done after this year with the Rays, Randy traded. Now you're looking at Josh Lowe and Isak as the only power threats in your lineup, because Jose Siri, who is Jose Siri? He had a massive home run power search last year, but we know that he's underperformed this year. So who is he really?
Yeah,
we don't know. So I hope that obviously the big boys turn it around, but this whole power dehydration that the Rays are going through is not good.
I mean, it's one thing to look at the numbers first couple weeks, first month of the season, but now we have a story to tell, and it's a troubling one.
It's still early-ish, but the ish is becoming bolded, underlined.
Yeah. I don't think the Rays are going to be finishing top 5 or top 10 or even top 15 in homers this season when it's all said and done.
Yeah. So, what do people have to say about this, by the way?
Yes. So the listeners out there giving their biggest takeaway from the Rays weekend series against the Orioles. Brian says, Savali pitched well. Did not see that happening. Bradley did not have it. Bad start it is. Next time out for him will be against the Orioles, so he'll bounce back. Rays could have won the series, had chances on Friday night and yesterday. Davinsky pitched well out of the pen. Darby Robinson says, as great as Baltimore was, the Rays were in each of those games and honestly could have taken a series win. They still aren't playing good baseball consistently, but there are glimpses, and I will take that. Ty McCann says, we're mid this year, which I would say is pretty accurate looking at the numbers and the overall record here. Quinlan Deegan says, Pinto needs to be called back up, or at least something has to be done with Alex Jackson. I think we can agree upon. Sky Ray says,
got a hit today. The man got a hit. How about that?
Hey, there we go. Making progress. Sky Ray says, while it wasn't a series win, I don't think Rays looked bad. Pitching was overall pretty good, minus Taj, who I feel like faced some bad luck. Offense was good today and yesterday. Randy got a few hits, but overall is still a struggle. A couple more here. David Lopez, Baltimore is really, really good. The Rays are not that. And Jake Stokes says, Rays are a one-and-done wildcard team at best this year. Sellers at the deadline, more than likely, but I don't see it being down beyond this year. So
I get where the doom and gloom is coming from, people. I 100% get it. for the what's going to happen through the season, I feel like it is still early-ish. They can turn it around. There's still plenty of time to turn it around. But what we've seen so far, is U-G-L damn Y.
Well, Kevin Cash, who usually is, hey, everything's all right. We're good. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Saying he is concerned, and he's been concerned for some time, probably is not a good sign. Maybe there are some more things in the clubhouse that we don't know about.
I mean, yeah. I don't think that clubhouse is.
I don't think they're having a lot of fun.
Frankly. I don't think, because winning is fun. So when you're not winning, it ain't fun. And that clubhouse has been so fun for the last 5-6 years that this year, I'm sure that people are a little bit more irritated than usual.
Yes, for sure. And what's crazy is Wander's not in the clubhouse. So you would think that things would have improved from that perspective.
Yeah.
But who knows? We'll have to wait and see on that. The Rays do have a 2-game set, I believe it is, Citrus Series.
Yeah.
The most interesting series in all of sports against the Marlins coming up. The Marlins, who are not good this year, but they've been winning some games as of lately. So it's the old adage of do not take any team lightly. Do not play down to the competition.
Indeed. So hopefully they don't do that. And the boys have a nice little off day in Miami to reset. Very good for them. Take your time. Let's turn it around. My gosh, what do we need to turn around? But Kevin, we have something kind of special this week, don't we?
Yes, we will have an interview with a Rays prospect. He has been a minor league ball player for a long time and has a lot of insight and just really, really good stuff from him. Been around the block, has some experiences he can talk about. So I think the listeners will be impressed by what he has to say coming up this week. So
can't wait.
All right. Before we log off here, we have to remind you that Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. And now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and in the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts at Locked On. Plus our national shows, we have a host of them covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. In the meantime, hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you tomorrow.